All right, let's call this meeting in order of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, Plan and Building Committee. Today is Tuesday, November 28th. Could we have a roll call, please?
Crawford.
Here.
McGilvray.
Here.
Dwyer.
Here.
Berman.
Here.
Teets.
Here.
Jackson. And Quarles is absent with notice. Wypert.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Please join with the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we have a motion to approve the previous minutes? Moved by Commissioner Dwyer, supported by Commissioner Crawford. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passed. Could we have approval of today's agenda? Moved by Commissioner McGilvray, supported by Commissioner Crawford. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passed. Is there any public comment today? Seeing no public comment, we move on to today's regular agenda. The first item is Parks and Recreation, a support of request to convert Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund assisted property at Addison Oaks County Park. Moved by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvray.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Stencil, Executive Officer, Oakland County Parks, with Paul Zackhaus from Facilities Maintenance Real Estate. This is a conversion that occurred when we accepted having a cell phone tower at the park. This has generated nearly $300,000. Stereo. $300,000 over the current lease of this tower to SBA out of Florida. The mitigation is 0.29 acres, and back I think a year and a half ago we acquired over 40 acres at White Lake Oaks from the Girl Scouts. And that property is being used as the mitigation for this, which will also allow the park system again to be favorable for opportunities for grants from the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund. Because when you have a mitigation on record, or a conversion on record, you lose 50 points right off of the top. So it's very hard for us to be competitive with grants.
Any questions? And I know this went through Parks already.
Correct. And then it's,
so how long did we have the conversion on file?
how long has it been on file?
Yeah, I mean, did we?
Probably officially 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, when we went through and looked at all of the grants that Oakland County Parks has received over its 50 years, we discovered that this was one that needed to be mitigated.
Was it the dollar amount that?
No, just the idea of having a having the private and not for outdoor recreation, even though the monies that we receive through the lease is used to fund the park system and to offset expenses.
Any questions from what I asked?
And it's also for, public good.
Yes. Any questions? Let's call the roll.
Crawford.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Wypert.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 2 is Parks and Recreation, creation of the Springfield Oaks grill room positions, and we'll need a motion for direct referral. Moved by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvray. Good morning again.
Again, I'm accompanied this time by Sarah Cohn from Human Resources. This is a opportunity for the park system to provide the entire experience at our golf course of both food and beverage, as well as an excellent golfing experience at Springfield Oaks County Park. We have been in the food and beverage business now for the last 3 years, when we started out with our 2 water parks at Red Oaks and Waterford. And last year, we started managing the food and beverage at Lion Oaks and White Lake Oaks. So staff is recommending, and our commission has approved, to create 12 Parks and Recreation funded part-time non-eligible positions based upon our experiences at White Lake Oaks and Lion Oaks to operate this coming season.
Any questions? Just, I know the model, we've been going back and forth on the model, and the resolution says that hopefully the positions are going to be paid for by the revenue.
And that's what happened with our experience at Lion Oaks and White Lake. And then I can also tell you that we received a number of very positive comments, especially from our league golf players, who really appreciated the fact that we had consistency in terms of our customer service and the quality of our food.
That's great. Any other questions? Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you. Do we reach out to any of our local community colleges or to find out any students that might be interested in a culinary or hospitality career when we put these positions out? Do we partner at all with our higher education?
I can go into that. Yes, we do. Actually, both with our seasonal positions, which some of these positions are, and our second cook is actually a standard position that's year-round available, that's used at Children's Village and Parks. So yes, we are reaching out to like OCC with their culinary program, Schoolcraft. Baker College has a program, and there's a couple other programs like Macomb County that offer as well. And we try to reach out to those colleges or different associations to attract candidates.
And we have a food and beverage coordinator on our staff who is also a chef and has regularly communicated with the different culinary schools in the region. And we also at the farmers market do a number of food demonstrations and tastings, and we feature Dorsey's Schools is there quite often.
All right, thank you. That's good information for our public. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Let's call the roll.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Whiteford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
need- We'll need a motion for direct referral.
Oh,
Moved by Commissioner Crawford, supported by Commissioner McGilvery. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Item number 3 is Department of Economic Development and Community Affairs, Community and Home Improvement Division, the 2017 Annual Action Plan Acceptance for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, the Home Investment Partnerships Act Program, the Home and Energy Solutions Grant, the ESG programs. Good morning.
Good morning.
Motion. Moved by Commissioner Berman, supported by Commissioner Jackson.
Good morning, Carrie Reeve from the Manager of Community and Home Improvement Division. I have with me Carla Spradlin, who is the primary author of all of this. And Carla does a super job for us in helping to manage the application process and the acceptance processes for our grants. So today we're here for acceptance of our consolidated grant application through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that totals about $9.5 million. And it's primarily allocated to our 53 participating jurisdictions. And in your attachments, you have the formula funding that each community shall receive and the activities that they're going to use the money for.
Okay. Any questions? And there's the CDBG is no match,
Correct.
right? And the rest was budgeted to
Correct.
match.
Right, the home program has a match requirement of 25% against the housing activities, which the Board of Commissioners has graciously supplied for this grant. And the Emergency Solutions Grant match is provided by the agencies that are contracted with to provide the Emergency Solutions Grant activities.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
I
Commissioner
have one.
Jackson?
Thank you. So these monies, do we know how they're going to be affected with the proposed federal budget? How are you handling maybe what's down the road? Because a lot of people are fearful that some of these programs are going to be experiencing less funding.
Well, as you can see, we have late acceptance of this funding due to federal continuing resolutions and Congress not resolving budgets in a timely manner. And our program actually begins July 1st. And so now here it is December. And that was impacted by the 17 budget issue in Congress. 18's budget is going to face continuing resolutions as well. Right now there's a continuing resolution that goes through, I believe it's December 8th. And then there will have to be decisions made at the congressional level whether or not there will be continuing congressional resolutions. And I would dare say with all of the priority issues that are on the table in Congress right now, there most likely will be continuing resolutions. So what we try to do in our program is we proceed as if the money will be released on time through the congressional budget process and through HUD's allocation methodology. We have to have applications due to HUD by a certain date, and so that process has to be in line and in step according with HUD rules. Now, acceptance time is a whole different animal because we won't get grant agreements from HUD until the budget issues are resolved. And so we always, in our own internal budget, we keep a watchful eye on what's happening in Congress. And if we need to contract programs and services, we would come before this body for sure and make our recommendations. We try to maintain our budget such that we have enough in our budget to carry us through the period of time administratively from July 1st through whenever we're going to receive the actual allocation amount. And we've been able to do that in the past. If the money should be cut drastically, then we've got personnel issues and we've got program service delivery issues that we would come before you and give you some recommendations on.
One last question. Okay, I know that one of the communities that I partially represent, Southfield, they kind of handle their own home program, and OLSA, Community Action Agency, has approached them kind of to help them or maybe supersede for them as far as deliverance of that program. What I want to know is, at OLSA, we have been really looking at community action or community service development block grants. Do you use that money in any kind of way to supplement your program? You just use community development? Okay.
Yeah, they're two totally different grant opportunities. The Community Action Agency grants are delivered through organizations like Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency, and they're the direct grantee of those funds, whereas the Community Development Block Grant funding comes through Oakland County directly. Now, you know that in our activities with OLSA, for example, the county contracts with OLSA to deliver minor mobile home repair programs, and they supplement that program using that Community Action Agency funding, but we don't have control over how they budget and manage those dollars within the agency itself.
Okay, so it is separate.
It's
Those two
independent,
types
yes.
of block grants are delivered separately.
Correct.
By agency and by the county. Okay, thank you, because I didn't know, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And Commissioner Montgomery.
Yeah, question. I noticed that a couple of the cities are using the funds for like code enforcement or positions within the city. How is that eligible through community block grant money to be able to use that to pay for employees' wages?
Well, I don't want Carla to sit here without responding to anything. Carla deals with the eligibility of activities, so I'll let her lead. And
code enforcement is an eligible expense under the Community Development Block Grant Program, but only in areas that meet a certain demographic threshold. They're called area-wide benefit areas. You have to have a certain percentage of low and moderate income people residing in those census tract block groups in order to be eligible. So you might have an example of a community like Hazel Park. Hazel Park has several census tract block groups that would be eligible for code enforcement. And yes, the code enforcement officers' time that they are spending in those particular areas performing code enforcement activities is an eligible expense. I would mention, though, that project service delivery costs for other activities are also eligible under the Community Development Block Grant Program. For an example, you're in a senior center and they offer a congregate or home-delivered meal program. You might need someone to take in the applications or coordinate the delivery of the meals or advertise the program. Those services to produce that product, which is the meal to the senior, are eligible expenses under the program as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And as far, you talked about anticipating whether the expenses or the grant's gonna be sufficient. This 9 million, it's on track with what we've had other years?
Yes.
It's been as low as 8 million, or is it?
Mhm. You know, the reductions are a reflection of the committee that sets forth the HUD allocations in Congress. Sometimes those amounts go down. Sometimes they've been pretty close. The 17 money is pretty close to what we received in 2016. But if you look at 20 years ago or 10 years ago, overall the funding is down.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Let's call roll.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Whitebird.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the communities, have they been asking the timing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just come by and check my inbox.
Thank you.
Where's the money?
Item number 4, did I say any opposed? Any opposed? I think that passed. Item number 4 is Department of Facilities Management and Sheriff's Office amendment to the lease agreement with the 2470 Elizabeth Lake Road LLC. Motion by Commissioner Dwyer, supported by Commissioner Berman. Good morning.
Good morning. We're here to ask for not only an extension, but we're going to seek some additional storage space at the location on Elizabeth Lake Road. And the reason why we're here today is because Art Holsworth is kicking me out of the trustee camp. No. You know, the county wants to put the trustee camp up for sale, so we still have a lot of stuff going on out there. So we're going to, it's 2 phases. We're going to expand this lease agreement here and move part of our training and part of our, at the trustee camp, we still do a lot of stuff for the local communities. We do, we take care of bikes for the children and just a whole slew of things that we have a work project supervisor that works out there. And so we're going to move him down to the Quality Pontiac building. And also, at the same time, Art and company has been working with us over at the old health division to provide space for some training purposes inside that building also. So we think we can accommodate what we have to move out of the trustee camp down to these 2 locations, and then the county will have the ability to sell the trustee camp. So.
Any questions? No questions, call the roll. Okay.
Berman.
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Whitebird.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any votes? Communications, seeing no communications, seeing no other business, we will